Yeah, I started recording. You guys can see my screen, right?
Look.
Yes, we can see your screen.
A goal ఏంటంటే వాడు ఇచ్చిన 1200 కంటే 500 తక్కువ చేయాలి, తక్కువ తినాలి ఎవ్రీడే.
దానివల్ల నీకు వచ్చేదండి
అమ్మ చెప్పింది కదా ట్రాక్ చేసుకోవడం ఏంటి.
Someone has to go on mute. Thank you. So, yeah. Let's going once again. Like, if you guys have any questions on Dhanu's topics that he covered on inbound EIBs, or I don't know iLoads, so no iLoads, inbound EIBs or an API, and any questions regarding that, or if you want me to repeat some topics, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll get started with outbound EIBs, and we'll go ahead. No questions. Nice. Okay. So, what is an outbound EIB? So, similar to inbound EIB, when you create it, right, you have an external file. So, you get data from an external source or manually. You transform the data, and inbound, you give it in a template. So, you transform it and then load it into the tenant. Outbound is also similar. It's just these steps. You get data, transform the data, deliver the data to an external vendor or an SFTP server. Where do you get the data from? So you get the data, write it down. So EIB is always three-step process. Step 1, you get data. 2, transform data. 3, deliver data. Right? That's it. Only 3 steps always. So where are you? How will you get data from Workday, right? So you have 2 types of data sources. You have Workday reports. These should always be advanced reports with web service enabled. You see the option, right? You remember the option web service enabled? So your report has to be web service enabled if you want to include it in an outbound EIB. Okay. Or you can also use APIs, Workday APIs. Very limited number of APIs are supported in inbound EIBs, and we usually don't use it. I mean, I never used an API in outbound EIB. All I use, if I'm using an API, that comes to Studio, but outbound EIBs, all we use is reports, especially. But there is a possibility that we can also use APIs, work APIs. Yes. That's how you get data. And then how do you transform data? There are 2 possibilities in here. That's called custom report transformation or XSLT transformation. So both of these transformations are basically used to transform data from your custom report or from whatever you get from your custom report into a text file or into an XML file or anything that you want, or fixed with pipe delimited, comma separated value. So you have your custom report transformation. This is Workday delivered. Like Workday gave it its configuration, so you can actually configure your custom report transformation, and you can say, I need a pipe delimited file, and I need my first name to be 30 characters max, or if my first name is more than 30 characters, fill it with a space, something like that, or less than 30 characters, fill it with a space. So that's custom report transformation. It's UI based, so you can just configure it in a UI. So when I started Workday a couple of years back, we don't have custom report transformation, so all I have to do is using XSLT always. But as they are improving, they are adding more features into this custom report transformation, so you can now even do a fixed with file with it. XSLT transformation. So you have to use XSL language in order to transform your report output, which is an XML, into a text file. So you have to write your XSLT logic in between your XML and your file to transform that XML into your text file. Right? So there you will use XSLT. So you have an option of XSL transformation there. And where do you deliver data? There are There are multiple options here. You have HTML, you have SFTP, you have FTP. I don't even remember. You have work attachment. Okay, these are just some examples. There are others. We'll see. Okay, outbound EIB, 3 steps: get data, transform, deliver data. Let's create an outbound EIB. Create EIB. Let's give it a name. You might have created an inbound, so let's create an outbound. Okay, so general settings, you give your name here. If you want an ID for your integration, give it here, or let's leave it blank. It will remove spaces and concatenate everything together. So it's auto created. You create next, which is your get data, or next, simple. Get data. How do I get data? Using a custom report or a web service. Let's do a custom report. What is my custom report now? We have created our advanced first report, right? Previously, like 2 days back. So we will use that advanced first report. Okay. And then in details, you have something called alternate output format. This you have alternate output format as CSV, JSON, RSS, and XML, simple XML, right? So what is this alternate output format? Let me duplicate this tab. Duplicate this tab and let's go to our advanced report. Advanced first. Okay. So when I go to actions, I notice my URLs, right? Web service URLs. So I can give here workday XML, simple XML, there is CSV, JSON. So there are different types of outputs for a custom report, like different types of data structures or something for a custom report to give your output in. So your custom report output can be in an XML, your custom report output can be a CSV, your custom report output can be a JSON, right? Or your report output can be a workday XML or a simple XML. There is a difference between workday XML and simple XML. We have seen it. Workday XML has reference IDs in it. Simple XML will not have reference IDs in it. Okay. So this alternate output format automatically gives you the workday XML. Okay. But if you are writing your XSLT for a simple XML, you might want to switch it to simple XML. Or even if you don't have an XSLT and you just need a CSV file out of your report output, you can just select a CSV file and it will generate your output into a CSV file automatically. Or if you select a JSON, it will then give you an output in JSON. Right now, I'll leave it to just like that blank, so it will returns me workday XML. And then next. There is one transformation type. Give me 1 second. Okay. There is a transformation type, like we discussed. There are 2 types actually. Custom transformation is your XSLT transformation. Custom report transformation is your transformation that's delivered by Workday, right? So if you select custom report transformation, it is basically asking to reference you any custom report transformations that you have already created. So we haven't created for this report. So let's do new custom report transformation. We're basically doing a new custom report transformation, and it went to empty. And then next. So you'll see where to configure it. But we just said new custom report transformation for this EIB. Next. And delivery method, you have SFTP, you have FTP, HTTP, email, AS2, so many delivery methods. Let's put workday attachment for now. We give it a file name. File name dot, let's do CSV or TXT. Okay. And then document retention policy, right? If you have not seen this, your number of days to keep the resulting document. So whatever the output of this EIB is, it will be in the tenant for only the number of days you specify in the document retention policy. So if it's 1 day and you run your integration today, you came back tomorrow, the output is gone. It will only stay for 1 day. So 180 is max. Maximum days you can keep a file in your tenant. 1 is minimum. So you can do 30. Next. You have seen that, just 3 steps: get data, transform your data, deliver your data. Simple as that. Okay. Now we have created a custom report transformation here, but we haven't configured it. We just created it for just like that. So let me go to actions, enterprise interface, and configure the transformation that we have created now. When I click configure, there are 2 modes. Use as a delimited, so you can create a pipe delimited, comma delimited, tilde delimited, tab, anything you want. Or do you want to create a fixed width? So there is a difference. So let's see both of it. Okay. Use delimited. Let's do pipe delimited. Okay. And your line ending, does it need to have a carriage return line feed or both CR and LF? Because some of the Unix systems will consider CR, some don't. Windows consider LF and everything, right? So you probably want to use CR/LF depending on what your vendor system is, right? And then you can edit your header here if you are having a header and then you want to change your employee to employee ID. You can do that. You can change your heading overrides. And if you want to have a padding, if you want to add some spaces before the file, or if you want to add some spaces after the record, you can do it. And your padding depends on your column width. So for example, I said padding space. Okay, use \space S for spaces. So if I want to pad with spaces, but my column width matters, says me how many number of spaces need to be entered. So for example, for my employee ID, my column width is 10. That means it will add spaces before or after. If I do right padding, it will add after the employee ID. Like if my employee ID is 5 characters in length, it will add another 5 characters to pad it the space. Okay. So I'm not going to edit everything, but everything is the same option. So if I go to position, you can change the position, you can give it a width. You don't have to give it a width because it's a pipe delimiter, right? Why do we need to bother about the width unless we have some system constraints that a field should not exceed certain characters or certain length. And then I click OK. And done. Let me go to my integration instance. So the way you go to your integration is insys. It's integration system. It's a shortcut. Insys, and you can say the integration name. Oops, not this. First EIB, insys first EIB. That's your integration name. And then this is your integration. Now you have configured your transformation. Everything is ready. Let's just run it. Integration launch. And it is asking for an employee ID because my report has an employee ID parameter, right? So that's why it's asking me an employee ID. Let's just run it. Run it for everyone. While it's running, anyone have questions?
So the max limit is 180 days, right? So is there any folder, archive folder or something like where all the files which exceed more than 180 days would sit there if you want to refer?
No. So 180 is your limitation. So if it goes more than 180, you should not have stored it in Workday.
Okay.
That's it.
Krishna, actually, you said that we can use even Workday delivered APIs and not to run this.
I'm sorry, can you come again? I missed a little bit.
You mentioned that this EIBs, outbound EIBs, can be built on 2 things. One is Workday delivered reports or custom reports, or Workday delivered APIs.
Mm-hmm.
So can we create our own APIs also, or is this restricted that
So these EIBs use Workday delivered APIs. So your custom APIs are mostly RAS, report as your service. So those are your REST APIs that you can give access. So you create a report and you give access to someone to call that report. You give your report URL, you give your username and password. That access your REST API. But SOAP APIs are all built by Workday.
Okay, so whatever we build, like custom and all, become REST. Your like REST web services.
Yeah. If you're building a custom API in Workday, that's most probably your REST.
So can't we
Or
change this?
report as a service.
Can't we switch this?
No. All SOAP APIs right now are delivered by Workday because the structure and you can't really put data into Workday unless you have a public API. So that's the limitation. So you have to have a public Workday API in order to update data into Workday, like hire employee, create positions. So those are all public APIs that are into Workday. So you need to have any such API to do it. So for example, there is no API to update time blocks in Workday. So Workday is coming up with an API in the next release. So until it comes up, there's no way to store it. So our integration is complete. Our output files, you can see an output file here saying file name.txt. I'm going to put it in my notepad and I'm going to share it with you in 1 second. Hold on. Okay. You can see my notepad now. So simply put, your file is now ready. It has all the fields that you have in your report. Okay, and it's a pipe delimited. Okay, and you just right padded 10 characters in employee ID. So if your employee ID is 5, you added 5 more spaces at the end of your in your custom transformation, right? And you can also add zeros. So if you're trying to do a left padding, and for example, if you want a number that's that needs to be padded zeros in the front, right? If you have 5.6, but your number length is 6 characters, and if you want left padded zeros, you can use the same custom report transformation to pad 3 zeros on your left, or 6 to pad zeros on your left. So you'll use left padding, character length is 6, so that will pad 3 zeros on your left. And at the end, you should see your CRLF, the line feed, right? Carriage written and line feed together. If you have selected only carriage written, it will only appear carriage written. If you selected line feed, you'll only get line feed. Easy, right? Okay. Until now, it looks easy. So this is your typical outbound EIB, easy one. So let's go ahead and change it to a fixed width, and let's see how the output is. So I'm going to edit. I'm going to go to my EIB actions, enterprise interface, configure transformation. I'll make it a fixed width this time, and I'll just do a line feed. And my column width is 10, which I already gave for employee ID. And full name, my column width is, I do 15. Let's see.
We can't see your screen.
Yes, thank you. Now you should be. Okay. So what I did is I changed my transformation into a fixed width. I changed my line feed into LF instead of CRLF. And then I went ahead and said my employee ID is 10 characters. Did you notice when I inserted 10 here, the column heading override already adjusted itself to 10. So even though you have your entire ID, but you said your column width should be 10. So I'm only giving you until I won't give you D. Like that, right? My legal name is 15. My first name is, let's do a 10. Let's do 30. Position will be 5. Cost center will be 8. Company will be 8. SSM will be 10. SSM will be 10 again. Active status will be 1 because we are only getting 1 YRN. Work history, let's do 18. action event is 15, effective date is 10. Okay. Everything I'm padding with a space. But if I have to pad something with zeros, let's do position. Is there an ID in the output file? Let's do employee ID with zero padding, right? Let's do 0 here. And then let's do employee IDs of 15 characters. So, and do a left padding. Okay. So your column heading override has 15 characters now, right? But what if you want your header to be a different format at all? So if you want your header to be very limited, so what you can do is you can remove this column heading override, and you can say in this header column, you can add a header like you want. I'll say employee ID number 1 or something, and then footer I'll say count. And I'll say row count. So count will be row count. Okay, in the footer we might need a count. So just added it, okay, and then done. Let's run it again. Let's see the difference. So while it is running, so you have your integration details here. You have your enterprise interface event, which is nothing but the event that we are running. You have your parent event. So a difference between an integration event and a parent event is, so you can have multiple integrations triggered in an order. Like in a business process, how you have multiple events going in order, right? So you can have an integration run, and once it's complete, you can add a different integration within that business process. So you have one integration completed, and then you can run a different one, and you can trigger multiple integrations at the same time, right? So if you have something like that, your parent event will have details of all other integrations or sub-processes that are running within that parent event or within that integration run, main run, right? So that's the difference between a parent event and an integration event. In this scenario, we don't have any multiple integrations running, so our parent event is our integration event. But if you have multiple runs, multiple integrations, your parent event will look a slight different than your integration event. It will include everything. It will include all 5 processes, all 10 output files, all log files, everything in one place. Okay. And then it's initiated by me. So what if it's initiated by someone other than me who does not have enough security, right? Enough security to pull all the fields, but they have enough security to run this EIB, right? When they run this EIB, especially for EIBs, when they run it, if you don't have security, the integration will complete, but it will not give you any result. So for example, if I have only access to employee ID, I'll only get employee ID in the output. I will not get the salary, I will not get the SSN, I will not get any other parameters, right? So initiated by is important, and run as. So I initiated it, but I can run it as different user, right? So there is some concept called system users in Workday. So you can initiate a process, but you can have a system user run it. So the integration will take the security of the system user, not the one who initiated it. In that case, if the system user has enough security, it will give you all the required output. Whoever initiates it, doesn't matter. That's the date. And if you
So-
scroll down, you see the, yeah, go ahead.
When you were running the report, did we see that option run as?
Yeah, let me show you that. It's in the EIB. It's complete. Actions, edit, and then if I go to my data source, there is an option called run as system user. I can give a system user, and it will do a run as. But EIBs do not support system users. So those are only for business. So I don't know why Workday gave this option, but this doesn't work for EIBs. System users work for other integration systems like Core Connector, Studio, Benefits, and everything, but not for EIBs.
Yeah.
But they have this option here.
It can work.
But they have this option here. Yeah, go ahead.
It can work for reports, though, right?
Come again?
I said it can work for reports, right? I can initiate a report.
No.
No. Okay.
No, you cannot also initiate a report as a ISU, as a system user.
Okay.
Hopefully they're trying to get something here, so that's why they have a placeholder, but might not have figured out how to do it. Okay, I have an output file here. Process info, it gives you how much time it took and things like that. Process history will give you the last 5 previous runs, right? And these are output files. These are messages. So EIB has delivered message package, so you can't create your own messages here. But for other integrations, you can create your own messages if you want. EIB, it's very limited, so you live with what they gives you. So your data source size is 16 MB. It's what that came out of your report, and then it's saying your output is now available. So let's see the file. Now my header is just employee ID number 1, and I only have line feed, and my employee ID is 15 characters. Oh, wait. Yeah, you can see, right? My header is just employee ID number 1. My employee ID is 15 characters, 15 with left padded zeros, and each one is space limited. Okay, and my footer should have my count. My footer should have my count, right? 477. It's excluding the header. It's excluding the footer. Okay. So this functionality is available in Workday 29, I believe. Before that, we have to write XSLT to get a count.
Does any of the fields in the report has an option of replacing the special characters or something like that in the data before we write it into the report? Like
No,
how?
good question. So, yeah, no. So if you have special characters, right, like these things, and if you have in brackets or something, you don't want to put it in your output file, you have to write an XSLT. Your custom report transformation is not yet that flexible.
Okay.
So when you use your custom report transformation, right, if you know that all your calculations or all your data transformations, if you can do them within your calculated fields, for example, I need a substring and a concatenation. For example, I need 2 values to be concatenated. If I can do it in a calculated field, I can do it in a calculated field and then use my custom report transformation to just put it in your output. It's easy, right? But if you can do some functions like they gave fixed with today, but you used to not have fixed with before. But something like removing special characters, you can do it in your calculated fields or using calculated fields. So in that case, you definitely have to go for your XSLT, which you have transform functions to write your replace functions to remove your special characters and put the regular characters you need.
Okay. So calculated fields, do we have some delivered calculated fields, or all the time we create the calculated fields? Does Workday deliver some of the?
So Workday typically won't deliver it, but I have seen some clients, whenever clients are getting implemented, like Deloitte or someone is implementing it, they create some calculated fields during the implementation load itself or during the conversion itself, like regular cal fields, like global fields. For example, you need years, 2012, 2013, 2014, and something like those things they'll create. Or you need, for example, some lookup values, right? You always look up for job profile or you always look for job classification, which is in your position. So you create a lookup related value to get it onto your worker. I have seen some clients have implementation partners do it during go live, but typically all calculated fields are done by ourselves only. So we create our own calculator.
Okay.
One more question,
And it also,
Krishna. So
yeah,
can an integration parent event have one EIB outbound and one EIB inbound, where the EIB inbound takes the file from the EIB outbound? How would we do that situation?
So when you're doing an EIB inbound, right, you only have one option to give your input file in a format that Workday likes it, right? The template. If Workday doesn't like in the template, it will fail. So your EIB inbound, you have to give you a file, and if the file format is good, Workday loads the data into the tenant, and that integration is done. When you add an EIB outbound to that, all you're doing is you're triggering another outbound irrespective of what that inbound happens, or you can write some logic if the inbound only completes, then do that outbound. But you're triggering it, that's it. The outbound is separately different. So you trigger that outbound and it runs on itself. You can only create a runtime dependency, like you have to only run when my inbound is complete. Right? You can't really input a file through inbound and output it through outbound.
Okay. So, and one more question, Krishna. I think this might be handled by XSLT or other types of reporting, but I want to ask. So, what if I have a report where I need to create the header level as employee ID and the employee details, and underneath it, I need one line as the dependence under the employee, and other line as the maybe the employee other details like the pay information or something. How would
you're
we do
talking
that?
something like a file for Cobra, right? For example, a file for Cobra is like that.
Yeah, I'm
So
not sure
header,
about how the HR, like, I cannot say an exact example from HR background, but if you know something in finance, I can clearly explain with an example of voucher. A voucher has a voucher header, and it has the line details, and it has the shipping details, and it has the distribution details. So, so in that situation, how do we do the reporting?
So in that situation, we have to go for an XSLT for sure. You have to write an XSLT. Mostly, like in search cases, I have seen, right? For example, like I said, Cobra. Cobra is a similar example, like you said. It has its own header. It has a dependent event. It has an employee event, change job event, like 3 or 4 lines, and then go for a different employee.
Yes, exactly.
So
yes.
In that case, you have to write an XSLT looping for each event, and then say I have a for each event, and then just include these parameters in that particular event. Or you have to write a when condition saying when this event happens, include these parameters, kind of a thing. But most of them have connectors. Most of search files, which are hard to build in your XSLT, have connectors. Like Cobra has its own connector. So you can just plug in your basic plans. You can map your dependents. You can map your everything. Like you can do data mapping. Like my gender should be male equal to M or something, and you can run the integration, and it will give you your output. But if you have to do a customized one, you have to write your XSLT. Or even if it's getting more complex, go to a studio.
Okay. So whenever you get a chance, like, can you open one of the delivered, like, for example, with the Cobra and explain, like, this is how it is, like, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just ask. Thank you.
We'll get there. Thank you. Yeah. You have seen outbound EIB. Let me give you some tips on your delivery settings, right? So if you have an integration, enterprise interface, edit. And if I go down to my delivery, it has 4 types or 5 types of delivery, right? I'm going to go with SFTP just to show you guys how to put it there. So SFTP. So my SFTP address, if I hover it there, it should give me a hint. Or my SFTP should be simply SFTP : // you all know temp.com, right? And if you have a port, you do : 22. So that's how your SFTP address should look like. If it's an FTP, you just do FTP. That's your syntax. But it won't allow you to do FTP when you have an SFTP. So you have to change it to FTP and then give a FTP address. So Workday has its validations. What is this error? Yeah. Seriously, that error is gone. Okay, and you can enter your directory here. So my directory can be, directory names are related to your directory. You can say, you can give your directory /directory. You can dig deep into the directory to go to root, something like that, right? If your SFTP connection needs to use a temp file, depends on your vendor's connection, you can use a temp file. Your temp files are mostly used when writing data, right? So you don't want your SFTP to consume that file until you finish writing the file. You create a temp file in there, and then your user ID. So your user ID will be something like test, and you give it a new password. Verify password file name.
So some companies use certificates. I did not see that.
Getting there.
You had that? Sorts?
Yeah, we got that. So I'm going to SFTP for certificates because they're secure. Test.com. I switched my connection to SFTP 22. My port, my directory is root, and then my authentication method gives me if I'm using a username and password or an SSH authentication, right? Certificate authentication. If I'm using my username and password, it says test and new username and password. If I'm using an SSH authentication, you might need your key pair, the public key that a vendor gives you.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. And how do you create key pairs also, right? So create X509 is your XSLT authentication key pair. So I can create a private key pair. I can create a public key pair. So we'll do both of these when we explain keys and get deep into it. But you can give your SSH keys. Right now I have some in the tenant, so I give it SSH key pair file name. Document retention policy is 30. Details. Sequence generator for file name. So what's a sequence generator for file name is basically, let's take for example, if currently my file name is just a constant, right? If I want it to be a variable, right? If I wanted to have a sequence every time it runs, or if I wanted to send a date and time parameters the time it delivers, or date and time on the day it delivers, right? How do I do it is I do it using a sequence generator, right? So I have to create a sequence generator first. So I go create sequence generator. I give it a name. First, EIB sequence. If you want to increment your sequence by 1, you can do it. If you want to do it by 100, you can do it. And you can restart it every day, every month. So your sequence number can be restarted. So there are use cases, right? For example, if I'm sending thousands of files on a day, I don't want it to be duplicated. So I basically add a sequence, and I don't want the sequence to be increasing every day, right? On the first day I send 1,000, next day 10,000, and the file name increases a lot. So you can restart your sequence every day. So every day during the first run of the integration, the sequence resets itself to 1, starts again. You can use a time zone. Restart at number, you can do it. You can pad with zeros if the file name needs zeros. The format is important, right? The format is file name, and you want to put this sequence here, so square brackets, FAQ. Okay. And if you want to add date or year, right? So when I hover it, I see this box. So it says sequence should be named as SEQ. So that's what we did. And then date and time parameters are done like this. So if you want, so this is similar to how you formatted your calculated field, right? You created a format mask when you're doing a build date or format date cal field, similar to that. So your year is a small y, your month is a capital M, your day is a small d. I'm going to do a square brackets, y, mm, small d. I can do this way, Or I can do something like this, y, square brackets open, square brackets open, dd. This is both the same. They'll result in the same output. And once I click out of this box, this example sequence reflects our sequence, what's going to be at this moment, right? I have a year 2018 0 to 15, 2018 0 to 15, and I have a sequence of 0, right? I can say last number used as 1, so it will start by 1. So that's the current sequence, right? When I run the integration next time, the sequence will go to 2. I'll give it .txt at the end. Copy this name. Okay. And then I reference that sequence we created in here, first EIB sequence in the sequence generator. I can do a file type as text. It really doesn't matter whatever file type you give it. It depends on your extension, how it performs, right? If you have a text file, it's a .txt in your file name, so your system knows it's a text file. You can use keys, PGP keys, to encrypt your files. You can also create your PGP keys using tasks like create PGP private key, and public key pairs. And at last, we see an option called restricted to. So when you click on this restricted to, you see 4 or 5 different environments, right? Tenant environments. So I see production, I see sandbox. So if you have this set to production, this delivery method that we just set up, right, that we just gave this delivery method, it's only applicable to production, right? And if you want a different method for sandbox, you can add one more delivery method down here that goes, and then you can do it as a work detachment, and then give it a file name 20, and then you can restrict this to sandbox or implementation, multiple tenants. It's all fine. So why do we do it? Is because if your integration is in production and you want to use one endpoint for your production files, you want to use a different endpoint for your sandbox or test environment files. So you want the integration to have both the environments, but whichever environment the integration is getting run in, like for example, I'm running this integration in production, it uses this delivery. If I'm running the same integration in sandbox, it uses second delivery that we added. Okay. Simple. Let me remove that sequence and put it down. I can add the sequence down. Okay. Now let me just rerun that integration. I'll just do it for one employee this time. Find one guy. Okay. Okay. I'm giving an employee ID here.
So how do you
go ahead?
How do you determine what type of tenant environment are you in? Like production, sandbox? Is there a way to detect that by looking at a URL or some parameter?
Yeah. We'll talk about that. We should have talked about it earlier. But once I finish this, I'll give you guys how a URL is determined. So we gave a sequence generator, right? So this sequence generator, you gave it there, but you have to have, I mean, it's a launch parameter always. So in every integration, your sequence generator is a launch parameter. You have to tell that integration to use a sequence generator instead of your default file name. So we have a default file name called filename.txt, and you have a sequence generator that has date and sequence in it. So currently the default file name is set to this thing, UA something text. And I want it to go to a sequence generator. So my file name, don't use the system default. Determine a value at runtime. Based upon your runtime, determine the value. And what value should I pick is the next sequence for integration file utility. Return the next sequence value for the sequence generator configured in the EIB when launching or scheduling the EIB, right? You have to pick this option. And you can also override the default document retention policy. If you want more than 20 for this specific run, you can change it here. Otherwise, just leave it. Okay.
Krishna, if this EIB fails to FTP the file or something, is there any way that you can mention that retry the process for a couple of times or something like that? Can we do that? Or it's only one time attempt?
It will retry 3 times. If 3 times it fails, it will throw you an error.
Okay.
And you have to rerun the integration to reprocess it.
Okay.
There's no push. Just for the file push, there's not like that. Okay, so I have my output files here. See, the file name is with the sequence now. Should have got one. Maybe this guy got us wrong because we are restarting every day, and this day we did not run it with the sequence. So it reset it to 1. That's fine. Okay. So you have the same file with a different file name, right? That's all for an outbound EIB actually. Apart from Excel, we'll go ahead. Okay. So any questions until now?
The environment, you were going to show that after this is done.
Yeah. Yeah, before going to XSLT, right? Let's see how to identify what environment are we on. Let me go to my notepad. Okay. So when you look at a tenant, you see the first until workday.com that defines your domain, right? If I'm in an impl domain, that means I'm either in an implementation tenant or in a sandbox tenant, right? So this one, both implementation and sandbox have same domain. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. So there can be WD5. We also have E3 or E5, and we also have something without this. So whatever it's here, because there are three locations where Workday dev environments are. So that's the reason we have 3 different domains. We have WD5, which this environment is in, and we have without any WD5, we have just impl.workday.com. That's Atlanta. And you have something called EB5 or E5 or something. So that's maybe in Dublin. So that's your domain. And then if you have production. So this is your implementation tenant. Then after this domain comes your company URL, right? Your tenant URL, the true URL. For example, in this case, the tenant URL is about GMS1. Okay. And your company might have a different URL, right? So this is actually the place for tenant URL. So for example, you'll have something like capital 1, right? For a capital 1 tenant, you might have capital 1 as your URL. Or if you're having tenant for ERPA, you'll have ERPA1. That's your implementation tenant, right? So as long as you have your impl here, that is your implementation tenant. And then here comes your tenant URL or the name of the tenant. That's your ERPA or something, okay? And then you build your tenant login.html. This is your regular tenant URL, right? Usually when I go for ERP, for sandbox, the only difference between the sandbox and impl everything is same. You will have just ERPA instead of ERPA1. So you can have ERPA1, ERPA2, ERPA3, ERPA10. You can name anything. The tenants can be named into anything. But those are all your implementation tenants. Sandbox tenants are replica of production, so they only use production name, except they have their impl in front of them. A production URL is entirely different. It has myworkday.com. So if you see a myworkday.com, that's a production, and don't touch it. And your company URL will be ERPA. Okay. Those are all the 3 types of tenants, right? If you have a sandbox preview, there is one more tenant called sandbox preview. So this one uses very similar to sandbox. But within your company name, it uses preview, underscore preview. I mean, this can be named into anything, but Workday follows this pattern. So if you're working in a client, you see a ERPA1 or you see USA1 or something, that means that's an implementation tenant. That's your prototype 1 or something, right? But if you don't see any 1 here, or it's just your company name, that's your sandbox. And if you see myworkday.com, that's your production. Right? And all these tenants, all these URLs, they might have linked into an SSO, single sign-on, automatically, right? But if you want to have a non-single sign-on URL, you just add question mark, redirect, equal to N. So this will basically take you to your login page instead of getting you directly to your single sign-on, in case you want, if you need it. Right? But other than this, every tenant will have a label on the top. Okay? Production will be blue, I guess. Sandbox will be orange. Implementation will be green. And you'll see this is an implementation preview. Sandbox, you'll see as sandbox. Production, you'll see as production. Okay.
Can we change the production link to a custom one instead of myworkday.com?
No, that's the domain. That's where the data center domain is.
Okay, we cannot even like mask it or.
I mean, mask in the sense you don't have to give your users myworkday.com, right? You might have an external layer, like a layer 7 or something, which redirects you to your production environment. You can have your own company's website that redirects to Workday.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you can do masking, but that's on external side. That's all we do customization on the top of it. Okay. Workday you can't change really.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that's all for URLs. Pretty simple topic. You guys know. Let's go back to our EIB. And now we have seen custom report transformation and everything, right? Now we are going to see an XSLT transformation. But before going there, I used the remaining of today's time to go briefly on the XSLT concepts and how to get an XML file, how to start an XSLT, and what tools you guys need to help you get started easily. So you guys might have already heard about Oxygen. So Oxygen. No, Oxygen XML. Yeah, Oxygen XML editor. So you can download Oxygen XML editor. I mean, you have a 30-day license trial. You can download it, use it for 30 days. If you want more, you can change your email and get a new registration key. But if you want to buy it, it's almost like $500 or something. They removed it. Okay, it used to be 500, but now it's 100. Anyways, if you want to download, but I use Oxygen XML a lot because it is very helpful when creating an XSLT. It shows me where the errors are exactly and what are all the functions that I can possibly use, and there's a lot of things you can do in Oxygen. So it's one of the best XML tools out there, and most companies use it for, if you're using Workday, XSLT, Oxygen is always there. Okay. I'm going to Oxygen. Okay. So before going to my Oxygen, let me show you the Oxygen. So this is how an Oxygen looks like. I can create an XML document, close all these. Yeah, these are all typical XSLTs. Okay. I'm going to create a dummy XML file here. I can do new XML, create. It's a blank XML file, but I need now data, right? I need some data in this XML because I have to use it in my XSLT, right? I'll go grab my data from my tenant. How am I going to do it? So work integration. So I went back to my report, advanced first. I go to my URLs. I give it an employee ID. And then I click OK. I see different XML URLs, right? If I want to have Workday XML, I can get Workday XML here, and I can just copy. And then paste. This one's too big. Let me change some fields in the report. The XML is too big. Let me edit my report, remove some fields like worker history and all. We'll get there.
Can we run a test EIB like for the custom report?
Test EIB for. Oh no, like you when you're doing a test report, right? Similar to that, you can do a test EIB. No.
Okay.
It's a nice thing to have, though. Yeah, what Workday will do is in community, right? You have people or Workday customers talking to each other, and they'll start creating brainstorms, like something like you said, test for an EIP. If it's a really useful functionality, all other clients will vote it up, and Workday will probably give a 2-year timeline or 1-year timeline to get it into a next release.
Okay, I think even Oracle copied from Workday then. They changed the same thing in Oracle.
I think they both are same at the end.
Yeah, initially Oracle didn't have that.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean it's a cloud platform and very limited customization, right? And it's the only way people can tell Workday that I need it.
Yeah.
Come on. Employee ID. Why am I launching this? Seriously, no. Go to my report, advanced, view URLs, employee ID. Okay. Get my Workday XML. So this is. Hold on. I'm still getting my work history. I should remove this. Okay. Edit. Better. Good for the eyes. Okay. I'll remove this entire chunk. Okay, so this is my XML, my Workday XML. See, it has the Workday reference IDs. If you don't want this, if you want it to be simple formatted, you can use simple XML. I always like to use simple XML initially because that really helps us understand XML easily. See, it's very different. It's just like it has your position and it has your position name. That's it. It does not have that Workday IDs, which you really don't need. Right. Let's use simple for now. Okay. Let me save it. Okay. This save it. Okay. So what screen are you guys seeing? Okay. Okay. I saved my XML as simple XML. It's Control S, and then now if I try to validate my XML, right? First I have to see if it's a valid XML. Pretty sure it came from Workday. It should be a valid XML, but for Oxygen to understand whether it's a valid XML or not, it needs a schema on the backend. It needs a definition saying that, okay, this employee ID is a numeric or is it a text, right? This legal name, is this a numeric or is this a text or is it a float? It needs what each field type is, right? So that's called schema. It's called your document definition, right? Where do I get that schema is, I go back to my Workday, and when I go back to view URLs, if you got your simple XML, it has your simple schema, XSD. If you have your Workday XML, it has your Workday XSD. Right now, I got my simple XML, so I'm getting my simple XSD. Let me paste it in Oxygen and then let me show you guys what it is. Okay, I'm creating a new Control N, doing XML schema, create, and then I go to text here, and then just remove this initial tag and paste my schema in there. Okay. So this is my schema, right? What it's saying is, okay, and this is then Workday report. It's coming from Workday. So this is called namespace. This namespace should match your XML namespace. Okay. And where is this namespace coming from, right? It's really important because this namespace is coming from your custom report configuration, right? This is your name of your report and things like that. But you can change the namespace. I can go back to my report. See these advanced options? This is your namespace. You can modify that namespace into anything. I mean, anything in a sense, it should have your Workday URL and you can name it to something else, or any different namespace that you can reference in your XSLT, right? That is where namespace is. So what namespace is? It relates or it links your XML to your schema and your XSLT. So that is how you identify, okay, this XML is for this XSLT or schema is for this XML, right? And it also gives some namespaces that Workday uses. We really don't use them a lot, and we really don't have to worry with other namespaces. Not going deep into your schema, you won't change it anywhere. So just overall, it's your element ID. Element name is employee ID, and it's a string. So it's a text field, so it came out as a string, right? And it has a minimum occurrences of 0, maximum occurrences. It does not have any maximum occurrences, but considering it as a 0. So you can have an employee ID minimum 0 times or maximum 0 times, right? And currently in your simple XML, you have it 1 time, right? So how do I link this XSD that I have right now, the schema, to my XML in Oxygen is, I save my XSD first. Simple.xsd. I saved it as simple.xsd. I go to my simple XML, I go to my window, I go to my document, schema, associate schema. Go to my document, schema, associate schema. Click OK, and then you give your URL. Your URL is nothing but your XST, your schema URL. This is your file, your schema file. Just reference it, open. Okay. Now, when you reference to your schema, it automatically gave you the schema location. Right? Schema location is within this, and it is saved as simple.xst. Now, if I validate my XML, it is a valid document. You see, validation successful. This XML is now valid because Oxygen understands it as valid. I mean, it is valid already, but right now, when you associate a schema, Oxygen knows, okay, I'm validating it against a schema, and it looks good. Okay. Now, let's see what's an XPath is. You guys, let me step back a little bit and let me explain parent tags and child tags. So XSLT is also a user-defined language. So you can write your own tags as long as it has some definition, as long as it has some value in your schema definition, right? So for example, I can write it instead of employee ID, I can write something else. I can write ABC or something. But my parent tag my opening tag should be equal to my close tag. I have my opening tag, I have my close tag, and I have a value in between my opening and close tag, right? Similar way I have this. So this is my parent node, or this is my parent tag, report data. And I have a child tag report entry, and this report entry can be multiplied or can be repeated. So I have a report entry, I have a report entry, okay, and this employee ID might be different, 231 something. So employee ID is 1, 2, 3, 4 something. Okay, so this report entry is a report entry in your report. So it's a line item in your report. In your report output, it's like a row. Okay, and this is your second row. This is your third row. Okay. So within the report entry, you have your fields. Your employee ID is a field and its value. So legal name, its value. You have all these fields here. But how do I navigate through my XSLT, right? Or my XML? How do I navigate it? XPath is a navigation language or navigation tool to navigate through XML. You basically refer to an XPath and you get a value of it. So if I want my employee ID, my XPath will be, I'm writing my XPath here. It's one way to text your XPath in Oxygen. So I'm writing it here. So my XPath will be report WD report underscore data backslash. So I have my parent tag now, report underscore data here, and then backslash WD colon report underscore entry colon. So I'm right now here, and then I want this employee ID, right? I'm going to write WD colon employee underscore ID. Okay. So this is my XPath to get to a value called 21307. So let me try to execute it. Why is not returning any badges? Did I wrote something wrong? One other way to get your XPath in Oxygen is just right click and do copy XPath. I'm guessing it will give you a namespace also. Oh, okay. So I forgot a backslash here. Now if I just click enter, that is your, it's taking you to the employee ID, and you can see below, you can see three different employee IDs here, 21307, three different employee IDs. So your XPath is basically saying, okay, I have 21307, I have 2323 something based on your XPath that you have given, right? So how do I get only the second one, right? If I want just the second one, right? My report entry is added with a 2. Okay. This gives me only the second value. Okay. See the value down here? And if I want the third one, it's just 3. That's how you use your XPath to navigate within your XML.
What
So
if
it's
we
very
want
easy
to get other 2 than, like, what if I get to want 1 and 3 rather than 2? How do we denote that?
1 and 3.
Yeah, like I don't want the second row to pull up. So how do we give that not equal to row 2, right?
I mean, yeah, we can write functions, but I'm just thinking if we can do it in an XPath. Let me just try.
Okay.
No, yeah, we can do that.
To write a for loop with if condition for that.
Yeah, we can write a for loop and we can say don't give this thing, or we can write an if and else condition, and then we should write the for loop first, and then you look through each report entry, and then we don't get the second one.
Okay.
Where position equal to 2 or something.
Okay.
But within the XPath, we can do it.
Krishna, I have one question. Like here, you said that this WD report entry, that tag will have an attribute of row number, or usually how the workday will give the XML, like if it has multiple rows and for each row there will be attribute called like row number equal to 1, 2, 3 or something. Will it be there, or is it just like a WD report entry tag will be there?
Your WD report entry, yeah, I mean all reports will have this WD report data and WD report entry. These things you can configure.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you will not
within
see
your-
any. You will not see any attribute value for WD report entry tag element.
Report entry. Let me think.
So because this report entry tag is repeating multiple times, you copy it and paste 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So in order to differentiate, but between each each report entry, so will be there any attribute value present in the tag or no?
No, not on the report entry level, because your report is always one report you're getting data from. But for your question, right, if you have like multiple companies in this case, or cost centers, or let's do something like organizations. Let's write our own thing here. WD organizations. And I have a closing org, and then I do have cost center within it. I do have this company within it. Okay. This is one way. I mean, this is red because it's not referenced in your XLT or XTD. So
yes.
So this is one way. So if you're digging deep into here, so you say report entry /org/cost center, right? So that's your one way of doing it. But like you said, if you need to do this org/WD cost center, that gives you this. But if you are looking for attributes, for a tag, an attribute is something like descriptor.
Yeah, equal to something.
Descriptor equal to, I'm just making it out. So descriptor equal to cost center. And then you have your cost center value as ABC, and then you have your closing org. And you can have the same tag repeated for a company as well. Is there something you're looking for?
Yeah, like no, I'm saying it's not that one. Like since this multiple rows are there for each particular tag, is there a attribute called row number which will differentiate? This is the first row. This is the second row. This is a third row. Something like that.
No. No. I mean, there are ways to do it, like not within the report entry tag, but if you want to identify rows, there is a report field called sequence. You can add it in within your report. So it will be as a field here, like you have a sequence here going forward. It will say 1 for this.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking out for. Like,
yeah, but nothing on your report entry. Your report entry will be, these two will be just like this.
okay.
Report data, report entry. Okay. Okay, what else? So this is your XML, and this is an attribute in an XML. Like descriptor is an attribute. So for an organization, you have an attribute, and that's value is cost. Attribute type is cost center. So your attribute is cost center, and your value is ABC. So if you want to look something like this, your expert will have. I don't know if my XML is correct in the first place, but let's try. Expert will have at the rate, or it's like this. You can do descriptor. Hold on. Did miss tag. Yeah. So you can do org at a descriptor cost center, which gives you ABC. And let's change it to XYZ as company, right? And if I want a company now, I do, instead of my cost center descriptor, I do a company descriptor. And that goes to XYZ. So you're basically looking for, so these descriptors mostly appear in your Workday XML. Those have everything as descriptors. More attributes are there. Simple XML will not have these descriptors. But anyways, that's how you access an attribute within an XML. You do at the rate inside your square brackets. Okay, that's all I can think of an XML. Let's go to our XSLT. Let me remove these orgs. I don't want to get this XML bad. I'm gonna do a Control Z. Out of Control Z.
So Christo, like if I want to go to from child node to the parent node, do we use dot here, like to go to?
Yep. Dot backslash.
Okay.
I'm gonna create a new XSLT file. Control S, simple dot XSL. Okay. Now in this XSLT, right? First, you guys can start looking at XSLT if you have already looked. That's good, but over tomorrow and maybe by Saturday morning, if you guys can look at that XSLT and get to know functions and everything, that would be great. Usually in an XSLT, we do templates. What is a template? I'll give you. Your XSLT is in a template always. So your XSL template, and you can refer to any node within this template. You can match node. So if you want to know match an entire document within this template, you can do a backslash. And then, so my XSLT is looking for this entire document, whatever is reading this entire document. If you're only matching only, let's do report entry. Report entry, then it will only match this report entry tag. It will not look the entire file. But usually we do a backslash, so we want to look for the entire file. And then let's do XSL value of select. This is used to select a value from an XML. Let's get an XPath from here. Let's get this employee ID's XPath, copy XPath, paste. I have an error here. Let's see. Let me link this XML to this XSLT. So how do I do it? Is okay. I'm on my XSLT. I do this red button here. This is the run and apply transformation button. So I create a new transformation engine here. So I have my XML transformation with XSLT, and then I have my XML referenced here, which is my simple XML, and I have my XSLT referenced here, which is a simple XSL. And then transformer, I prefer you always use Saxon EE, the 9.7.0, well, because Workday uses it. So always your EIBs and everything are used in Saxon. Oxygen supports more than what we use. So for Workday, we use Saxon EE. Okay, transformation. Yeah, so many others. Yeah, of course. WD has not been declared, so I did not declare a namespace. I did not declare our namespace. So it's basically trying to look for what WD is, because there is no namespace that's defining WD. It's giving me that error. So what I'll do is I'll get this namespace, the entire namespace. Oh, no, not this. These two. This buddy. This is my report namespace, which has the Workday. Paste it here. Now the WD error gone, right? So let me apply. Okay, so I got my employee ID, the first employee ID. If I just remove this once, if I run my transformation, I should get all the 3 employee IDs. Because what I'm doing is I'm matching the entire document and selecting employee ID, just employee ID, right? Now, what if I want a position also, right? Let's get a position also. XSL value of seller. Oh, we're almost at time. Let me finish this. Let's get first name. WD colon report data slash report entry slash WD colon. Let's do full legal name. Okay, and let's change this value. These guys have Ines Chapas. Let's do Bruce Wills. Let's do Batman. Let's do, I don't like Superman. Let's do Wonder Woman. Okay. And then now I have saved it and we'll run it. So I have my 3 employee IDs and then my 3 names, right? But what if I want employee ID name, employee ID name, employee ID? So you have to basically loop through each report entry, right? So for that, what we'll do is within the template, we'll do XSL. For each is a function. So you can do WD colon report data slash WD colon report entry. So what you're saying, XSLT, is, okay, now loop me for each report entry. Go for each report entry and loop me. So we already entered the report entry, right? So we don't need report entry here. So we can remove this report entry from here. And also from here. Okay. Your for each will take care of the first 2 characters. I'm gonna do a backslash. That should be perfect. Okay, never mind. Okay, something's wrong. Okay, for each select report data, report entry, employee ID. Just notice anything wrong?
Is it for each select we have to end with the double quotes and not give the entire?
Yeah. There it is. Okay, thank you. Double quote. Now I have my name, sorry, ID name. What if I want a line feed, right? So I need a line feed. So I go back to my Chrome. So how do I get my line feed? XSL line feed, searched out. There is a, how to implement it? It's written. So this is your new line character, the UTF something character. So I use this XSL value of select single quotes, and then I use my line feed characters here. So this should return me line feed. So I have my 2013 Batman, this thing, and let me remove this version here. Yeah, I'll do it. Let's keep it like that for now. That is equal to text. Okay. So your output method equal to text, remove your parent tag or your XML version tag, right? So this is like your basic XSLT, right? I would like you to go through W3 Schools XSLT. Let's try to understand these topics, right? You have your thing here, you can try it yourself, you have your templates value of we look at for each, right? What does sort function do? Sort basically sorts you. If you want to sort it by first name, you can do XSL sort first name. You can use if condition, you can write a choose and when conditions. Very limited functions, right? We have like 5 or 6 functions. That should be easy. And use that. And in Workday, what you can do is once you install Oxygen, I'll send you this video if you want some rewinding on how to get those things done, get attached in XML to a schema and things. But once you install Oxygen, I sent you guys an assignment in the classroom. This is classroom. Consider it as it's an advanced reporting assignment. So I've given some reporting instructions for you guys. So you guys can see the Word document, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So my assignment is simply like list all the employee details, the details that are listed below, okay, who have compensation or organization changes happened within the past year. So look for the past year, 1/1/2017 to 12/31/2017, and look. I only need employees who have compensation and organization changes, and I need all these details for those employees. And I have some formats for date of birth. So using this, right, you'll cover most of the calculated fields we discussed. And if you guys have any questions, we can chat. Okay. And you have to give me job profile, job family group, classifications. Most of the data should be available in the tenant, so you should be able to get it. So once you have it, once you're done with this report, you can use this report as your XML source, and we can write some XSLT on top of it. So that will be easy, right? So you can start building this report. So I've given names, some names, for example, left date, right? I mean, business use cases, like this is from one of my clients. I added more fields, I removed some fields, but that is how they gave us the requirement, left date. That equals to termination date, most of the cases, right? So I left it like that so you guys can figure out what the workday field is. I did not actually give you the workday field name. So you guys have to figure out what workday field name I should use. I mean, maybe there are different, everyone will use a different field. But if you have any questions like what field to use, because termination date will be always one field, right? You'll confuse when you are using work address, when you are using, yeah, most of these are one fields. You can read through the description and see if this field is enough for your output. Okay. And once you have done it, you can export it into an XML. You can do your outbound EIB with it. We can do some XSLT on top of it. So start with it. we'll take it through the end with the same report, and we'll use the same report in Studio also. So you can use one report and then do so many things with it. Okay. Questions?
Sure.
Before you guys ask questions, right? One question from me. Saturday. What should we do Saturday morning? So same times like we did last time.
Yeah,
Any
the
objections?
timings were okay for me. Saturdays.
And
I know it's a long weekend. If you guys say we'll stop, but I want most of the audience. It will be in vain if we go.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine as well.
I'm good, Krishna.
Well, it's not a long weekend for most of us now.
Oh, okay. That's good. Nice. Okay. Then we'll have a session on Saturday then, next session, and we'll cover the other XSLT topics. We'll do choose conditions, if conditions. We'll use the functions like translate functions. We'll use other functions like substring before, substring after. Whatever you guys think of. Like if you think of any use case, we can discuss and we can use it in XSLT. We'll use most of the time driving through XSLT on Saturday, and you guys have to get used to it by Saturday.
So the question I have is, why are we learning the XSLT for Workday?
Because in any, good question. So Workday always, most of the time, it outputs it as an XML. So for your studio, you need XSLT. That's your primary language. You have to write, if you have to do any transformation, you need XSLT. And have you seen your APIs, the web services? Those are in XML, so based. So you should have an XSLT knowledge to insert values into that XML. So if you want to transform that XML, you should have to know XSLT. And Workday's core is based upon XML. So always, wherever you see an outbound document, unless you do a special transformation and convert it into a CSV or a JSON, it by default outputs an XML. And for XML, the language for transformation is XSLT. On technical side of it, you use it every day actually. Every integration. I mean, not all integrations you can create with custom report transformation, right? Custom report transformation only gives you very limited options. And that is also it's doing right now, but 2 versions back it used to not do it. All we have is XSLT, but now it has some options which you can use, but still you need XSLT to do most of the stuff.
On Saturday, we'll be discussing about XSLT, right?
Yeah, Saturday we'll cover all XSLT.
And no new topics like core connectors or something?
No, I'll not go through core connectors. We'll do EIB, like XSLT more into advanced, like we'll write some functions and we'll take it from there. But I won't go into core connectors on Saturday.
Okay, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to attend the complete class or not, but I'll be attending the initial first half, so that's the reason.
Yeah, core connectors is entirely different. Probably by Monday or so, we'll probably start core connectors.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we'll not be having any session tomorrow, right?
No, it's not worth it. We won't have a tenant, so.
Okay.
Happy. Okay. If you guys have any other questions, Jay, you have asked me some questions on the email. We can chat if you want to stay, or I can reply back to the email. So, if you guys have any other questions, you can ask me, or that's all for today. Let's see you on Saturday. I'll send you an invite, like I did just now. Today, I'll send you an invite for Saturday, 10 a.m. So, right? Yeah, 10 a.m. PST. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a long weekend. Yeah, just let me open your email real quick. ERP.
Do you mind me staying online?
Yeah, yeah, you guys can stay. It's just work related question. So, yeah, Jay, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me share this.
We're all in the ERP family.
Yes, boss. Thank you, sir. Let me work the integrations. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get time.
No worries.
I don't have access to Workday community. Can you help me with this following? Yes, I can. I need names of all Workday delivered integrations to third-party applications. Okay, so I'll prepare something. I probably have to do a report, and I'll actually show you how to do it. You can also do it. You report on integration systems, attach your data source, and you can have fields like integration system, what type of integration is it, Workday delivered or not, and you can pull a report from Workday.
Okay, from Workday itself. So we don't need to go to the community center then, community for that.
Yeah, we don't need to. Probably.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Yeah, if you can show me that, and doesn't have to be today. Sometime. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, let's see. Can you please search download? I'll also search in community if it has more, but I also needed names of the custom integrations to the Workday partners. So this we don't. I mean, we can come up with some names, but there is no list with me. Like, I can give you a list that I have worked on.
Exactly.
But, there's no way to find it.
I think there are independent consultants, there are WTE partners, there are customers maybe developing their own custom integrations, right? But there's no central database anywhere, right?
No.
Okay. Which is kind of leads to the third topic, that I was just hearing it in the market that Workday is coming up with something called like App Store or Play Store, where people can just publish their developed applications for other people to buy. And those are the integrations.
There used to be something like that before. It's called Solution. It's been there. I mean, before I even started. So they used to have solution. If I develop as a custom integration, I can create a solution and share it on community, so other people can download and directly use that solution. But they have seen a lot of issues with that. So probably they deprecated it. They're not using solutions anymore. Maybe Workday is coming with a better option, like said, like an App Store or Play Store, which even develops something even better than a solution, and you can actually sell them, is what you said, right? I like
because when it is sellable, then you'll develop something which is configurable rather than it works for one company but not for the others. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And also in the tenant, I see the prompt saying like download the Workday mobile app. Like, is it something like where you can log in and see the dashboard kind of thing?
You can download the mobile app. Let me see if I have my mobile app. Give me 1 second.
But remember, you told me that this tenant is not enabled, mobile enabled.
I think so.
I was getting an error.
You're getting an error, right? When you used about GMS, right?
Right. So you had replied back to me that it's not mobile enabled.
Yeah. We checked already. So it's not mobile enabled. So when you try to log in into the tenant using the app using your credentials, it will probably give you an error because this is a GTMS tenant, right?
Okay.
Usually it won't be mobile.
Okay. And then the other one you had said that you will look at it is when I installed the Workday Studio and I was trying to connect to the Abbott GMS one, the tenant, I was still getting those errors.
Yeah, sure. That's because, so what's happening is you guys are created, so Dhanush gave you some accounts that only have access to do proxy.
Okay.
Right? Let me share my screen. Let me show you. I think we can have some more security than that. But so let's see your security, Jay.
So that was the reason. Okay.
Actions. security profile, assign user-based security groups. So you only have security administrator before, but I think, did you add this or did I add this to you? But yeah, you have report writer or report admin also now, but other folks have just security administrator, I mean, which gives us access to add security groups to ourselves. So you can add security to yourself because you are an admin now, right? You can do it, but because your username and password is yours, and you're trying to log in with that username and password, and you don't have security enough to do that. That's it.
Got it.
And once you add integration administrator and business process administrator in
Okay.
here, you put it there.
Yeah, let's put it there. Then I can try it tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, you have them now, so you can try. But remember, your tenant is about _GMS1.
Yes, that I used.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'll give it a try. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. It's a good long session today. Thank you, guys. Let me know. You guys probably can email me on ERP. If you have my number, you can call me if you have any questions. Otherwise,
I don't have your number.
oh, it's you can write it down. It's 716. I'll do one thing in the next meeting invite. I'll just put it there.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Have a good week.